This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and so I decided to do this video because I was talking with a friend about this subject after I saw a fellow content creator by the name of DB Fig. He hosts Digital Boundaries. Go actually check out that YouTube channel, Twitch channel. He does some really cool things. Always been a fan of his and always thought he was a really cool guy. So you should go over there, check him out, give him some love and support. I'll try to remember to put his info in the description of this when I upload it. Now, he tweeted about how Epic Games basically came up with a statement during their conference at GDC, I think they're at now. And they mentioned the whole cross-platform play thing. Now, this has been something that's had somewhat of a buzz within the gaming community. It's been growing. Now, I say somewhat only because I actually don't pay attention to that news that much, because while I do think that it's a neat idea, I don't think it's a necessity. I don't think that the world is at a loss or a standstill because we don't have this. PlayStation and Microsoft both do some cross PC and their platform play, but nobody has yet to bridge the gap across all systems. Which me, being the rational person that I am, I 100% understand why it's something that hasn't been done and why it shouldn't possibly be done in some cases. And I'll explain that as I go along in this video. But now, with that whole mishap with Rocket League showing that it can happen where people were actually able to play with Xbox people because of a glitch, the blood's in the water and the sharks are slowly coming in. And Epic came out and was like, we would love to have Fortnite be on all platforms, but Sony doesn't want it, and that we think that perhaps the developers should quote unquote nudge Sony a little at making this a reality. Okay, fair enough. You have the most popular game right now. You're probably at a point in your company's history, which is crazy considering this is Epic Games that has done so much for gaming and has had huge success with different titles like Unreal, Gears of War, and now this Fortnite thing. It good on them from a marketing standpoint from coming out and saying this, because they're already everybody's darling, and now they've upped the ante on everybody's love fest of Epic. But also, great how you handled the Paragon thing by giving the assets free, and also with Fortnite being so successful, and now with this, you pretty much obliterated any negativity that you guys had coming your way for shutting down Paragon. You killed a game that was beloved, and nobody's complaining about that. It was like such a brief window of complaint, but by refunding people's money, upping the ante on Fortnite and making improvements that people have been loving, and then dumping all the assets for Paragon freely to anybody who wants to develop on the Unreal Engine, which, again, second stroke of genius behind that. Why won't I buy the Unreal Genius? They're going to let me lease their engine, plus I get a shit ton of tools that have already been developed and I already know works on this engine, that I can get a sort of leap start on making whatever game that I'm making if I'm a small developer. Again, you filled your pockets immensely with that move. And this is another move that will fill their pockets immensely, because this is the thing. I know a lot of people want to sit and kind of champion this as this is something they're doing for the gamers because they love us and they love our community. Sure, companies do actually love their consumers. But the bottom line is always going to be what's going to be best financially for us and continue our growth and success.
And this is a move in that direction because with Fortnite being the biggest thing, consolidating all platforms would just even make it even crazier because it's already blowing the roof off on just about every platform. Where PUBG was the biggest thing ever, it seems like PUBG didn't even come out at this point to me because I feel like everybody's just so ingrained into Fortnite. Yeah, PUBG is going to maintain because it's a tournament game. It's an esports game. So there's money to be made there. But from the casual gaming perspective and from the content creating perspective, PUBG is kind of slipped a bit. And Fortnite is just everybody's all eyes on it right now. Didn't hurt that they had Drake come into a stream and play with them and bring along a couple of other celebrities, which now you're starting to see all these stories. I mean, my God, Ninja was just on CNBC the other day talking about this. They don't even do that shit on the regular for gaming charities, which they should. Why don't they have some of the biggest, maybe they have done it. If you know this, correct me if I'm wrong, but why aren't they putting the focus on the Extra Life streamers who raise great amounts of money for that, or the Play Live streamers who raise great amount of money for, St. Jude's? Why not do a feature on Guardian Con on CNBC? Because it's a collection of gamers that come together every year to raise money for St. Jude's. Why don't we have these as huge, big stories that are on Forbes, CNBC, CNN, running through all the major media feeds? Well, I don't know. But this, monumental pop culture event has made Fortnite just ridiculous. And now, of course, Epic has the stones and the weight to say this. Should they have said this? No. And here's why I say they shouldn't. Now, again, I'm not against cross-platform gaming, but here's the thing. Sony has a legitimate argument that we're going to always ignore because we're the consumers. We want what we want, when we want, how we want, where we want, whatever we want. Give us what we want. That's always going to be our mentality. In particular, in gaming, that's a very, very, very extreme way of looking at life because we don't like taking no for an answer for shit. We rail when we don't get a game that's old as shit, that hasn't come out for a while. It should be brought back. We create these forums and platforms. We create all types of media now. And again, in the social media era, it's so much easier now to express your opinion and to get the word into the ears of the people that you want. And all these tools are so freely and readily available that people are utilizing them to the fullest now. And so you're the loud minority, but you're loud enough because you have the pedestal. You have a pedestal like no consumers ever had before. So you'll be heard no matter what. But Sony's arguments about technical things, security issues, those are very, very valid points that we're going to ignore because we want what we want. Opening up your whole network to another community and trying to figure out how to make it consistently work. Because let's be clear, we have seen cross-platform play, but in its form right now, cross-platform I'm getting tongue-tied. Cross-platform play between different platforms is just basically you being able to connect to somebody else and play. People don't just want that, though. They're going to want to have voice chat. They're going to want to have being able to message across different platforms and things like that. They're going to want a standardized system between each platform. And that would mean that Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo would all have to figure out a way to make a universal networking system. That's the thing. You can't just say, boom, here we go. That's it. Yeah, they could flip the switch on the whole, I could join a game versus an Xbox person or a Switch person, probably because we've seen that happen again with that glitch. There is like some type of structure within there that can let PvP happen, but people aren't going to just want just PvP. They're going to want the whole thing. Again, it's just like with the stream. Drake was on PS4, Ninja was on PC. They weren't communicating through the platform itself, for what I understood. They were communicating through other ways. I think through Drake's phone, even. I think maybe the others were in Discord, but if Fortnite is able to do that, and somebody please educate me on this because I've never played with anybody other than my friends on PS4, then that's great. That's awesome, and then that's another step forward. But people want invites, like people want party chat, people want all that. They don't just want like in-game party chat. They want Sony to provide private party chats and things like that. And we know this. Let's be honest. We've heard the arguments and things like that. And I think that's why Sony's kind of resistant, is because how far are we going to have to take this? And also, what's the investment? Secondly, what benefits are there to this as a company? Especially now that they're having so much success with the PlayStation 4. What investment do they have? Like, what reason do they seriously have to not do what they're just doing now, which is PC, PS4 play? They're in competition with Microsoft, and while it's not like a vicious competition like fanboys make it, they still are financially in competition, and there may be some financial ramifications to this. So why am I going to, as a company, in all honesty, jeopardize my bottom line? Because I'm in this to make money too. Just like Epic is in this whole thing to make more money. Again, let's be very clear and let's not be totally blind to their ultimate intentions. This is great for their business, especially since Unreal is one of the biggest engines in gaming. It's probably the last of the like super mega major engines, because you don't really hear about the other engines that much. Most engines now, if they're not in-house developed by a company, they're Unreal, pretty much, or they're I forget the platform that most indie games use. They're either one of those three platforms, basically. It's rare to just see like a totally new engine that wasn't in-house developed by with the EA, like with DICE and the DICE engine and EA. That's because they have the funding of EA to do that. But no standalone developer, and most games within even the big house developers don't have their own engine. They use something like Unreal or the other platform. That's just one of those realities. So yeah, of course, Epic wants this, because I'm sure they're working on making it so every time you make a game on their engine, there'll always be the tools to make the cross-platform chat and communication essential. And it's just like makes the gaming industry more dependent on them, fills their pocket. Yeah, they have their motives. They're not trying to champion games. I hope people understand that. But for Sony, it's like, what's our motivation? What is there to do this other than it's a nice olive branch type moment? For Microsoft, all bets are in, because, as I've said many times before, I believe they're getting rid of the Xbox eventually. They have sent clear signs that they're willing to dump their hardware because of how they've been developing the Windows Store and how they have their exclusives on Windows, how they're doing the a la carte system with the Xbox Pass, which you could also use on the PC as well. They're kind of, getting their consumers ready for life without a Xbox console. They're conditioning them. And so for them, it's like, fuck it. This is a way for us to make money in this too, because now, if there's a universal system, it doesn't matter where they go. You can come to us and get the game, and you can still play with everybody that you want to. So we still generate revenue for us, and we can have another argument where, like, yo, we're with this, we're with you. Again, using social media the way that it is, they know how people are. People will react very, very strongly, and jump on an idea that they probably have never really thought of, just because they've seen it and it sounds good and they hear it enough. Let's be real. We weren't really that concerned about this. It was a novelty at best, but now it's all of a sudden becoming a big thing because it's been put out there. It's, again, the blood's in the water. It's funny. I was talking to a friend and I made this comment. It's akin to like the McDonald's 40-piece nuggets. I don't know how many people remember that, but remember when McDonald's put out the 40-piece nuggets? Now, we were all fine with 20-piece nuggets. No problem with that. But when the 40-piece nuggets meal came out, everybody started to get their interest peaked. It's like, well, fuck yeah, why not get 40 of these delicious things? I'm with it. And it wasn't that much more, so fuck it. I think it was like you could get a 20-piece for $5, you could get a 40-piece for like $8. A lot of people are like, fuck yeah, I could do that shit. I love McDonald's nuggets. But it kind of like ramped down, and I don't even think they do it anymore. At least they don't talk about it if they do it. And how much do you care? In fact, I'm curious to know how many of you remember the 40-piece nuggets thing that came and gone. Or like a lot of things with McDonald's. Like there's few things with McDonald's that we all like seem to want back. Like everybody seems to want the McRib permanently. But I remember when the McRib had disappeared for eons and then they brought it back. Then, of course, everybody's like, oh my God, the McRib. I love the McRib. Or like the Szechuan sauce. Until it became a pop culture thing on Rick and Morty, nobody cared about the Szechuan sauce. We forgot. Who was really, there probably were a select few of people who were pining for that since Mulan came out. No, it was just one of those things. Or like, I'm thinking of other things that McDonald's got. I remember the Chipotle sauce. I don't hear nobody calling it up for that. That shit was dope. But it's like, it's certain things like, when it's there or when it's introduced, yeah, we want it. But if it fades away and goes, we don't want it. Microsoft has dabbled in this cross-platform thing. They had a couple of cross-PC Xbox games earlier in Xbox and Xbox 360, and then they abandoned that whole thing, and nobody cared on Microsoft because they were happy with what they had anyway. Sony picked it up late in the PS3 era, I believe, starting off with Portal 2. And then they started to integrate it into a bunch of other games, mostly free-to-play games, to where now you see this with a lot of the free-to-play games that you get on PlayStation that came from PC. They're already cross-platform. They did it with Street Fighter V, all that. And it's good on them, but we haven't been sitting here like fucking glorifying Sony for that. And again, even when that was being done, nobody was really screaming for this cross across everything that big. Sure, there were people in the gaming community who wanted it, but for it's a general idea, it wasn't that dynamic. It wasn't that sought after. It's one of those things like for people like me and most people, it's like, yeah, that would be cool as fuck. You're not dying or pining for it. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, you still enjoy what you have. And again, I was talking to my friend, I made the whole reference like, it's like a difference between a quality of life thing and just like a nice idea that will be cool to have, but no one's going to miss. It's not like, having this cross-platform thing is going to somehow totally improve gaming. Again, we've had forms of cross-platform play. It's not something that's hindering the development and the rise of the gaming community or gaming development and all that is it's just something that now it's going to become like a huge talking point, and I find it interesting because why should it be that big of a deal? Again, I'm not totally against it, but I am definitely totally against the place that people put it in, and in particular, the methods that Epic are using. I think that, it's a cheap move. Smart move. Understand why you do it. Hey, fucking, again, you did that, and it's gonna like up your ante and up your profits. Good on you. But no, developers don't need to be pressured. If it happens, great. But we should accept it. We should accept that there are going to be limitations to this, which I know we aren't. And, um, you know, it's not going to be something that we're going to miss. I can tell you that if it never does happen. Like most things that we miss, our lives still continue, or we think we miss, or we think we need, I should say. Our lives still will continue, and gaming will still be a great experience, and we'll still enjoy the platform. Whatever platform we're on, whoever we're playing with, none of that's going to change. So that is my 20-minute 2 cents on this, and I just needed to get that out of my system because I just found it a very, very interesting thing, and the conversation. I would love to have the conversation. So please, please, please comment on this and let me know what is your overall perspective on this and how important you think this is, and how big of a deal you think it is, or how little of a deal you think it is. Whichever way you want to go with it. I really, really want to know what the real consensus is, or at least get a consensus through comments on what it is. Anyway, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.